Good morning. Let's take a nice breath in. Big sigh. Let the breathing come back to normal. Eyes opening. Welcome. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge, and this is the 11th day of our 40-day practice, the 40-day invitation to genius. And I'm really happy to be here with you today to continue an ongoing conversation around genius that I hope you will actively be a part of, because I need to be led as to what genius means to you. So genius is something that no one can be the expert of, because each of us is the potential genius of our own life. I cannot, no matter how much I studied, be a genius for you that you could be in your life, and neither could anyone else. And so this is why genius is such a powerful element. It really exists in relationship to us as individuals. And so I want to encourage you today to make sure that in this challenging time that we're all involved with, that you really access a passion moving towards something positive. Every single day working towards something positive, and realize that you only have a certain amount of bandwidth. You only have a certain amount of potential focus. Even in different practices, for instance, in certain meditation practices, you might focus in the hara, an inch below the navel and half an inch in, and the breath at the same time. And by doing that, focusing in these two spots, it becomes very, very difficult to have your mind going straight to disturbing details. We can even add another layer by counting the breath. So we would be doing three things at the same time, using up our bandwidth, and so we wouldn't find ourselves going back as easily or as readily to habitual emotional patterns. And so the same thing is true with what we have going on right now in the world. Be careful of what you use your focus on. There are certain elements that you use your focus, or any of us can use our focus, that are particularly attractive, and I don't mean that as a compliment, but particularly attractive to us. Things that we find irritating or that make us angry. Or, by the way, in real time, nothing can make you angry. All right, it's the way that you choose to look at things. And so what I'm suggesting is using your focus in a way that brings bandwidth to genius, that brings bandwidth to what you are positively working to create. That same energy that is going to be the fuel for genius is also the fuel for self-righteousness and anger. So I want to encourage you to be aware that, not that we should not be aware of what's happening, but I'm saying be aware of overstimulating yourself about what's happening. So be aware of that. Use those elements. For instance, I will not entertain negative thoughts. Say it 3 times in a row and say it different each time. I will not entertain negative thoughts. I will not entertain negative thoughts. I will not entertain negative thoughts. This creates a speed bump. When you're consistently running into people who are doing something that you feel is disrespectful, and we are all running into people doing that kind of stuff, it's so easy to get resentful of those people. We are all doing that to some degree, or at least most of us are doing that to some degree. Another one of those positive statements that is actually about a negative state is, no shame, no guilt, no judgment. No shame, no guilt, no judgment. Be aware that your shame and guilt is also linked to your judgment, both of yourself and of others. So these are just speed bumps to slow us down. And then getting ourselves back on path. Remember to ground and calm, and then to go from there to manifestation. Focusing on where you want to go, which is your relationship to genius. So thank you so much for your time today. Please consider being active in the conversation, because we all need to be in contact with stimulating inspiration. Most of the things that you see people talking about are not about anything positive, even though we do need to set limits. No shame, no guilt, no judgment is not a statement for not setting limits. But we just set them without demonizing. This is my perception. I'm interested in yours. I'm going to ring the bell. Let's listen carefully. I want to say to you that we cannot make things better unless we start where we are presently. And we can't make things better if we've got all of our bandwidth used up on elements that just generate tremendous intensity and soak up all the energy for inspiration. I bring my hands into prayer position. I bow to you to lead us. Thank you so much. Namaste.